Hello. Greetings, everybody. Thank you very much for tuning in on Live Talk today. Your unwavering support is tremendously appreciated. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, kindly subscribe, join the family, and make sure that you do not miss any of our weekly postings. Well, just like any other day, today we also have a special guest. His name is Banabasi Marambire. From being the head boy tending other people's cattle to owning several corporations. His first organization is called Bamlo Investments, which is an organization that has been recognized in Africa. It mainly specializes in building material supplies and brick molding. The second organization that he also owns is called Bamlo Construction, which mainly specializes in erection of buildings, plumbing, electrification, tiling, painting, carpentry. His third organization is called Mainek Holdings, which is an organization that really specializes in solar energy supply and food processing. He's also the co-owner of Great Dyke AB Academy, which is a private school. He's also the author of the book that is really making a lot of impact in many people's lives, which is entitled The Head Boy. He's also a philanthropist, and he also happens to be one of my closest business advisors. Well, let's cut to the chase. Let's dive into it. Welcome to Live Talk, Mr. Banabasi Marambire. Thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you, Anesu, for having me. How are you?
I'm very good, thanks. It's been, I think, 7 months or so ever since I last saw you. I think it was at the Business and Leadership Summit that I hosted sometime in February. And that is when you were sharing and giving people some highlights concerning the head boy. But I never knew that it was going to turn out to be something that is so big like this. I never knew there was a book on its way.
Yeah, even myself, I didn't know that it was going to be this big. Even though I knew the story was a very significant story. It's something which I knew was going to motivate people.
It was very transformational. Even up to this day, a lot of people still testify to how powerful the summit was. But still, I'm still startled with the lifestyle that you lived as a child. You were born in an environment that is not so conducive for a child of your age. I mean, you lost your parents at a very young age, to the extent that even after your parents had died, relatives rejected you, and you started living alone at the age of at least 12 to 13 and going for at least a year without anybody visiting you. I mean, such is so sad, but I'm still surprised with how you managed to pick yourself up and still rise during those hard situations. How were you able to motivate yourself and still, despite everything that was happening around you, you were still able to pave your way to success?
I always say my life is a living testimony.
Yes.
I really saw the hand of God pulling me through because look, being neglected and left alone at that age, yes, there were friends, peer pressure, who could have influenced me to end up into alcohol abuse or drugs or even stealing. And in that position, I could have justified the situation to say, yes, I'm doing this because of my background. But somehow, God's wisdom nurtured me, guided me, that I finished my school without any dropout, and I remained a well-disciplined kid like any other child who can grow under the supervision of parents. So only what I can say is God. Then maybe to answer the question, how did I manage to motivate myself? Yes, in the first days, I was actually having moments where I would cry, shed tears, and feel so sad, and feel very neglected, and it was not good. But then later I get used to my situation and say, okay, this is how it is. So how should I pick myself from here? And then I started doing quite a number of projects when I was young, which I was doing to sustain myself.
Now, considering that you had a lot of family members that rejected you, and considering also the situation that happened to you when you were in Botswana, when you started your own company, but due to jealousy that arose amongst people, you were forced to sell your company. How important is forgiving? Because to me, it seems like you were able to let go of what had happened You did not want to blame anybody for your situation that you were in. But now you are somebody who has now several companies, some of them being multinational companies. And those same people that rejected you years back are now coming to you for help. How important is this art of forgiving? Because it seems to me like you've mastered it.
I'm not someone who keep grudges.
Yeah.
As I was growing, I've learned that if something is not well between me and my fellow brother or fellow sister, I just speak it out. And then after I speak it out, that's it. We are cool. We don't keep grudges. For your information, I was talking in an interview last week. Excuse me. And I was highlighting that the law enforcement agents who were investigating me during the time when I was leaving Botswana, we are actually friends on Facebook. And time to time we talk about those events and we laugh about it. Yeah? I was asking some other time that now you see my book and the story is written and people are testifying. But the time of investigation, you didn't believe me. You see now that I was telling you. And we actually laughed to say, yeah, I see now you were telling the truth, but it's only that he was doing his job. So I'm not someone who keeps grudges. Yes, people wronged me, and at some point of time also do wrong things to people. As much as I expect them to forgive me, I also have to forgive people. You know, most of the things I do in my life, I take reference from the Bible. It is important to forgive. Even in the Lord's Prayer, we say, forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. So that is a very strong principle.
Well, thank you very much for highlighting that. I think many people are still suffering from that, especially the case that if they're in a tough situation, they tend to point fingers at other people and blame the surroundings for their situation. But back to that experience that you had as a child, there are some things that I constantly note when you speak. One of them being that you were able to harness one of your strengths, which was in calculating numbers and getting these figures together, profits and all that. And I think everybody who follows you really understands that it's something that you really take pride in. And you're always happy and encouraging other people to make use of their strengths that they have in their own lives. How important is that to you, considering that you keep referring to it a lot of times?
Okay, actually, what I can say is sometimes people, they don't know their strength.
Yeah.
When we are hiring people in my organization, we have a question where we ask the candidates about their strength and their weakness. And people always struggle to answer that question. So I've learned that most individuals, they don't know their strength, they don't know their weaknesses. So it should be a task for each and every person to know your strength and your weaknesses so that you can always address to those issues. You keep doing what you know better. You keep upgrading your strength and know your weaknesses so that you can also address your weaknesses. It's very important to address your weaknesses. In my case, I would say I managed to identify my strength and I managed to identify the things that I knew better. And I keep on focusing on those things, which is mainly construction in the other areas that has to do with construction.
From your book, The Head Boy, that I was reading, there are also some chapters and some parts that highlighted the fact that you started doing your business and being entrepreneurial when you were still young in school by selling sweets, going to big supermarkets, ordering sweets and selling them in schools and all that. Which to me and to somebody who has the sense of logic, it shows that you had direction from a very, very young age. Now, my question to you is, how important is the art of vision in a person's life?
Okay, this morning I was talking to another young man who approached me and said, I want to start business. And I asked that person, young man, what's stopping you from starting your business? And this young man said he doesn't have capital. And I laughed. And he was like, why are you laughing? I said, no, you don't need capital to start a business. He was like, no, I need capital. And I said, what type of business do you want to start? He said, I want to start buying cell phones and selling. And I said, okay, how much roughly do you think you need? He said, if I can get something like 200, I will start that business. I said, okay, in your life, if you ever at any point of time get hold of such figure, 200 or even more. He said, I know sometimes I had more than 200. I said, why didn't you start there? He said, because the idea was not yet there. I said, okay, you answered it very well. So actually, to answer to your question, it is important for someone to have a vision, to have a plan, and to have an idea, especially when it comes to business. It will help you that by the time you get money, your things will be in order. Or even if you don't have money but you have an idea, you can start working towards to establish something that you are dreaming about. I'm trying to address a concept where people think that they need capital to start a business. So from the conversation that I have with this young man today, he quickly agrees and admitted that, no, you are right. So when I had the money, I didn't think about selling phones. But now I don't have money. I saw a gap that if I can buy cell phones to the suppliers and sell to people, I can make good money. So yeah, it's very important for someone to have a vision, to have an idea, and try to work towards such an idea.
You also mentioned the fact that hardworking is something that was one of your core ethics. And there's other time that I had a chat with you, and you were saying that there's a difference between working hard and donkey working. Can you just give a brief highlight on that aspect so that at least people can have an understanding that there's a big difference between the two?
Yeah, when you're telling people to work hard, people quickly think of manual. So when I say donkey work, I'm referring to hard labor, like the manual job. Hard working is in various ways. Like right now, at this point of time, Anis, I can tell you that I'm a hard work, but I'm not doing anything manual. I'm using my brain to think, to strategize, to start to break new markets, to administer, to oversee all projects and a lot of activities in our organization. I've checked on my mileage. I think in a month I'm driving an average of 15,000 kilometers. That's hard working. Yes. So, and again, what I refer to as donkey work is just being busy without production. There are some people who go home tired because they were busy, but doing something that is not productive. I always say to my staff, please write something on your diary, program your day, highlight the things that you want to do and what you want to accomplish. So that at the end of the day, even though you feel tired, when you look on your list, on your checklist, you can identify that these tasks are done and you see results. Because if you are not careful, you come to work, you are busy running up and down, addressing this and that, but at the end of the day, you accomplish nothing. So, hard working is very important. Hard working goes hand in hand with commitment. You need to be committed. You need to be focused so that whatever that you are working on should bring results. At the end of the day, for us to say, no, you are a hard working person, we can only say that with evidence of good results of what you are doing. But if you can be a hard worker, we can't find you at home, we come to your office, you are busy, we can't even reach you on your phone, but at the end of the day, you are still broke, you have nothing, and you want to tell us that you are hard working. There would be something wrong in such an approach.
You're saying that somebody should really strategize their day at the beginning of the day or the day prior, which really points out the importance of planning in life. What's your take on that as well?
Every year, actually not every year, as this year goes to an end, we are already busy planning for 2022. and the time we are going to to begin in January, we are executing plans that we have already. We are executing some plans that we have already put in place. So I would encourage that people should always plan ahead. You can't wake up in the morning without knowing how your day will be like. You can't go to bed without knowing what you'll be doing tomorrow. It can't be. If you are someone who is productive, you can't do that. I always have my program well planned and scheduled, the whole program of the year and the whole program of the month, the whole program of the week, and the whole program of the day. If I happen to make an appointment with you, Anis, and we say we are going to meet at 10 o'clock, then surely at 10 o'clock I'm on the appointment and you are not there, I can only give you an average of 5 minutes grace period to wait for you. Then if you don't show up, I will be gone. Why? Because if I can waste time on the appointment of someone who is late, it's going to spoil the whole day. Because you should live a life where everything is programmed and treat time cautiously. To me, I value time more than money. I can lose $100 now and tomorrow recover 100 or even 200 or even 1,000. But if I miss just 10 minutes or an hour, which means in my entire life until I die, I will never recover that 1 hour. It's gone and it's gone.
That's true.
So to me, time is very important. I always say to people, this is how I want you to measure the importance of time. When we buy airtime, real airtime, and put in our phones, what we are doing is we are buying time so that we can talk to someone with our phones. Have you ever realized how people treat airtime? Some people, they can actually call with their thumb on a dropping button so that as soon as they finish talking, they cut off the phone and save time.
Okay, I'm listening.
So actually, this is how we should treat even normal time in our lives. The way how we treat airtime is the same way we should treat our time. To know that if I can waste 1 hour, 2 hours, it's money. I'm wasting money. I'm wasting something which is so valuable. So as long as you don't treat time with respect, chances of you to prosper in life is very rare. It will be by chance and by luck.
Among some of the things that you also constantly highlight is character, there is dedication, there is commitment, there is discipline. Can you just also take us through the importance of having character as an individual, especially for entrepreneurs? Maybe let's just say for everybody, be it a leader, be it an entrepreneur. How important is the mixture in the ingredient of character in one's life?
Okay, character, I think it goes hand in hand with your attitude. If you are rude in your character, definitely you chase people away. If you are short-tempered, you cannot pursue anything which doesn't bring instant results. If you are impatient, obviously you can't nurture anything which is growing slowly. So at the end of the day, collectively, for you to be a good entrepreneur, you must have a character which is tolerant, which is patient, which is so inspirational. Because when we talk of business, there's a lot of things that goes around. I was talking to a friend another time, and he was saying like, if I was having money like you, my brother, I would be relaxed. I would be no more waking. And I said, because you don't know what happens behind this. I wake up with a busy day. I think in a day, I can answer more than 150 calls in a day. And those are not just simple calls where someone says, hi, how are you? I'm just checking on you. No, there are calls which you need to give answers. You need to give orders, directions. We have got so many operations that are going around, and sometimes things doesn't go the way you like or the way you want or the way they are supposed to. It's frustrating and you are so stressed. In that kind of stress, a customer will call and the customer needs that tender respond, where you should be kind, soft, and show some respect. So to be an entrepreneur and a leader, you actually need good qualities in a character. Do you know sometimes I can address to my employees and somehow my employee can be rude to me? I need to develop that fatherly character where I can accommodate nonsense. Say, okay, no, it's fine. Maybe talk to the HR and see how you can address that. Or even someone can be rude to you. At the end of the month, you pay that person his or her salary with such a character. So you need to be tolerant. And you can have a customer who can come to you, say all sorts of words, and you still need to accommodate and be kind to that person and even smile at that person. So character is actually a big thing that plays a big role for a business to be successful.
Would you say that going through what you went through as a child, being rejected by many people, being thrown away by family members, and all through the process of betrayal, would you say that that process was necessary for you to be where you are today?
Actually, you know what I can say? God planned my life, and I believe everything that I went through, it was God's plan and it was God's plan. But the question is, my views or what I think about what I went through as I was growing up. I would say that kind of life, no one should ever live such kind of life, to go through poverty, to go through cold nights and all that. I'm the person who I am maybe because of such experience, but that's a tough lesson. If I would be asked right now that, do you want to live to go back to that life and live it again, I would say no. And there's another journalist from a magazine who asked me that question. For the first time when I was trying to narrate, I felt my eyes filled with tears, because I was like, but why and how can a person go through such suffering in the world where there are people? It's actually sad. That's why I now that's why I subscribe to give. When I give, I don't give because I have money or I've got wealth. I actually give understanding and knowing what it means to have nothing. I actually know the feeling, how it feels if you have nothing. If you are poor. So it's easy for me to relate when I see a beggar there in the streets begging, or if someone writes me an email or a message that I'm struggling and things are not well. I don't need that person to explain further, because I know what it is. To answer your question, that should we say my background and my upbringing is molded me to be the person who I am now? Some would say yes. And what I learned as I was growing, it helped me to be tough. I don't easily get shaken. Like the challenge that I'm facing now as a grown-up person, I consider them minor than what I went through when I was young. So in a way, maybe it was a tough training so that I can be strong when I face other challenges.
Okay, thank you very much. And just to conclude, what would you say to somebody who is a young person or maybe elderly, whatever, who is in the exact same situation that you were in a couple of years back? What pieces of advice would you give to them?
A piece of advice I can say to someone who is in a bad space right now, it's please don't give up. Believe in yourself. Never mind what people are saying, because in most cases when you are poor, people tend to speak words which are very negative, and you become invisible. They can actually speak bad things about you in your presence as if you are deaf. Don't allow that to break you. Be ready to accept any type of job as long as it is a decent job where you can get decent money with integrity. In my case, I started working as a head boy. I had completed my Form 4 level and also passed with, I had 6 subjects with B's and C's also. But when the situation was tough, I accepted the job that was next to me, the job that I could get at that time. So don't say you have got your degree, you have got your master's, or you are educated, or you are this and that. If you are poor, or if you don't have any job, if you don't have any source of income, and you are offered a job to work as a till operator, go with your masters, go with your degrees, do such kind of a job. But what you should do now is to accept any type of job. Don't fold hands and make it permanent. Just make it a stepstone. That's where you should start and continue upgrading your life to achieve the dreams that you long wanted. So if you are to sell airtime to start, do that. If you are to work as a garbage collector, do that. And then don't lose focus. When I was still working as a head, I used to tell my fellow friends from the farms, other farm workers, that one day I'm going to establish my company. I'm going to hire a lot of people. They are going to see me in newspapers and TV. So I remember another guy laughing, saying, I know that if we are going to ever see you in TV or in the newspaper, you'll be a serious wanted criminal. Because when he looked at me, he was seeing someone who is not. Tell me where I could be right now if I had listened to you. And this guy, I was asking sometime when I appeared on Prime News, and he was like, we saw you on TV. I said, do you remember what you said? And he was laughing. He said, hey, don't keep on repeating that story. So that's my advice to someone. That's my advice to someone who is down there, to say, no, pull up yourself. Don't sit there or sleep waiting for someone or an angel to come and bring a miracle and rise you. No, just know that you are yourself, and that's all what you have. And you have to work hard until you are successful.
Wow, thank you very much. And how about those that want to get a hold of your book, The Head Boy? Where can they access that book?
The book is on Amazon. You can check it. The title is The Head Boy. Or to check it on Sasai. We did an audio version, which we have uploaded on Sasai podcast. We made a podcast and put it under entrepreneur category. The good thing of a podcast is you can listen to those who are busy. You can actually just play it and listen to the book while you are busy with your work or driving or doing other things. So, and for hard copies, we can only get hard copies in Botswana and in Zimbabwe at the moment. They can get the book from our office in Greendale or contact Nigel, this like pastor. He has some other copies. They can get copies from him. In Harare. In the meantime, we can only get the books in Harare.
Thank you very much, Banabasi Marambire, for joining us today. It's a pleasure, sir, to have you, and thank you for sharing so much wisdom with us today.
Thank you, Anisu. It was nice talking to you.